What is up, guys? Welcome to GamersRaid. We are back with a how-to tutorial. So today I'm going to show you how to set up your steering wheel for Farming Simulator 19. So I've done a how-to before for a steering wheel and a joystick. So if that is more your thing, go and check that video out. This is specifically for the wheel itself and dead zones and all of that sort of thing. How to get the best setup basically for playing Farming Simulator. So the first thing you want to do before you even head into the game is open up your software, whatever software it is, if it's Fanatec or Logitech or whatever it is. And first thing I do is go over to the steering wheel settings. On the steering wheel at the top here, click right and say Access Properties. And over here, just maximize the degrees of your steering wheel. That just makes it a little bit easier to be a bit more sensitive on your steering when driving tractors and harvesters and things like that. I mean, this is a personal preference. Some people might prefer a 360 degree and a bit more sharper steering, but for me, I kind of tend to stick with the 900 degrees with a G29. So enable centering spring, that I leave unticked, and then the center spring strength I put on 0, because when I'm farming, there's no, as far as I know, I've never seen it, but there's no force feedback in Farming Simulator 19. Correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I know, there isn't any. So for me, I don't really want any resistance on the wheel because most of the time I'm driving with one hand, and I kind of want to spin the tractors and the harvesters around fairly easy without any resistance. And if you've driven a fairly modern tractor IRL, then you would know the steering is extremely light. You can basically spin it around with one finger. So that's what I do. I put mine on 0. So next thing we want to do is go over to the pedals, and this is quite important. So either on brake or accelerator, let's go over there, right click and access properties. And what you want to do here is select combined pedals. So if you're using a different brand of wheel, this will be somewhere else. Obviously, a software will look different, something like Fanatec, for instance. Software will look a little bit different, but you have to find out where you combine pedals. So that's what you click OK. So if I go to brake now, that would be ticked automatically. Right, so that is all set up. So I'm going to close that up. That just kind of minimizes for me if I close it up. And next, what we're going to do, we're going to hop into the game and I'm going to show you what to do over there. Right, okay, so we are in game, and what we want to do here on the main menu is head over to options, and then up here there's that little like keypad thing, and we're going to go ahead on that. And here you'll see all your keyboard assignments. So this here, you don't need to change anything. I leave mine as default. It works well. I know the controls, so I kind of just prefer to keep that. You can change it if you really want to, but not really necessary. So what we are going to do though is go over to gamepad controls. It's not very bright. It took me actually a while to figure out where this is. Yeah, they could have made that maybe like green or something, I don't know. But anyway, we're going to go over to gamepad controls, and then, I mean, there is a lot of controls assigned in here for the steering wheel. So yeah, I mean, sometimes it works, sometimes the default settings work, but for me, it sometimes works and sometimes crashes the game with my G29. Sometimes it'll literally just start loading the game and just crash flat out. So, and also it's mapped weird. I don't really like the mapping of this. So what we're going to do is we're going to delete absolutely everything. So to do that, you click on whichever one and hit backspace on your keyboard, and we're going to run through really quickly and delete all of this. So yeah, like I say, it's the default mapping, default mapping, for some reason open menu doesn't reset. No idea why, but anyways. And yeah, with the default settings, sometimes it works, but it's just, I don't know, the button layout isn't great. So I kind of prefer to just do my own thing, because then I know exactly what I've mapped to what, and it just makes gameplay a hell of a lot easier. Right, so I think that is everything, or nearly everything. There we go. Brake. Take that out. Good. Okay, so that is everything. So what we want to do here is start at the top, and I don't really, you can map to like jump and that sort of thing, activate hand tools and all. But generally when I play, you have your steering wheel. I think this is the same for most people. You have your steering wheel and you still have your keyboard. So, I mean, you can map most of these things on your keyboard, on your steering wheel if you really want to. But for me, it's not really necessary. So what I do is I go down to interact and I make that triangle on my steering wheel. Throw object, I don't map. Enter vehicle, I make circle because that is just handy. And activate object, I would make X. So that is basically what I map there. So we're going to go down a little bit, switch to next vehicle. So what I do here is on the G29, you've got a little circle thing with a plus and a minus on it. So the plus, I say next vehicle, and previous vehicle, I put the minus. So that's on the bottom left of the steering wheel. So that works pretty well for me. Attach tool, I normally assign to, I think it's R, is it L2? That's the one. So L2, select tool to R2, and toggle worker, nothing there. Start stop engine, I make the on the bottom right hand side of the steering wheel, it's got that little rotation thing, the red rotation thing with a button in the middle, which is basically enter. So I select that because it's nice a big button. So I do that for start stop engine because I use manual start stop. For dump, I use L2 or L3 in this case. Yeah, L3. And toggle light, nothing there. Turn signals, right. So I don't think many people use turn signals, but for me, I do the pedals, the gear change pedals for left and right because it's just handy. If you're driving, you can click them to put your turn signals on. So yeah, I kind of like that. Fasten tension belts, I don't use that. That is L as standard on the keyboard, and that's easy enough. So tool functions, lower tool first. So lower tool, I make R3 because that is really handy. If you're driving, for me, I usually drive with my right hand, and it is the closest button to my thumb. So if I'm driving with, let's say, a cedar, and I get to the end of the field, I don't have to turn the cedar off. I just lift it off the ground. So I hit that button, lift it off, turn the thing around, and hit it again. It drops down, and on I go. So that makes it really efficient. So you don't have to actually stop when you get to the end of the field. So for tool functions, this is quite important. I use the little D-pad, the arrows on the wheel. So tool function 1 is up, and then right, and then down, and then left. So that basically means up will turn a machine on and off, and then right will unfold it usually. And then you have your 3 and 4 functions for more complex equipment. Then toggle pipe, I normally make at the bottom you have of the steering wheel, in the center you have 3 little buttons. I put mine on share to put the pipe out on the harvester. So that works pretty well for me. So we're going to carry on down. I'm not going to assign any of these. Hazard lights, no. Work lights, I don't really bother with the lights because I just hit F on the keyboard. Makes it a lot easier for me. And this is all obviously personal preference. I mean, it's really your own thing. You can decide what you want to do. I'm just showing you what works for me. So walk backwards, I'm gonna assign to clutch, and walk forward to accelerator. Walk right and left, I'm not going to do anything with that because that's what you have a mouse for. And I'll get to the clutch in a second. Rotate hand tool, nothing there. And right, okay, here, brake. So brake I actually assign to my clutch, and accelerate to the accelerator pedal. Reason why I do that, we'll do this as well. This you'll just turn to the right hand side all the way and turn it back to the center, and that'll assign both of them, so that's good. But the reason why I do braking on the clutch is because the pedal is a lot softer. It doesn't have, like the G29 has that rubber block in the brake, but the brake itself has quite a lot of tension with the spring that it's got in. I know a lot of people take the rubber block out, but it's still quite a lot of pressure that you need to apply to the brake. For farming, you don't need that kind of accuracy, and the clutch, I don't know, it just works a little bit better. It takes a few minutes to get used to, but once you get used to it, it works absolute perfectly. So that's what I do. Maybe try it out. It's just because also if you hit the brake is for reverse as well. That just makes it a little bit easier. You don't have to apply so much pressure to get the brake working. So that is brake and accelerate, steer right, steer left. And I think that is just about everything that we are going to assign onto this. Let me just double check. I don't think there's anything else. The crane tools don't need to do anything with that because you'll use your mic for that. In my case, I use a joystick for that. As I said in the start of the video, if you want a guide on how to get your joystick working with your wheel and your keyboard, I do have a video up on the channel, and I'll actually link it in the description below. So that looks like we've got everything there. So what we're going to do, you can't see down here because I'm in the way, but it says save controls. So just click on save controls or hit spacebar on your keyboard and it'll say save successfully. Right, so the next thing we want to do, and this is quite important as well, is at the top here, go to the little controller thing. So it's going to show you mouse sensitivity. But what you want to do here is click X. Again, behind me where I'm sitting, you can click there to switch device, but X on the keyboard will take you over to G29 driving force wheel or whatever wheel you have. So what you want to do here is these are the dead zones. So the sensitivity you can play around with if you want. I don't bother with it. It works fine on 100%. But what you want to do here, axis 1 dead zone is usually for some reason the pedals. You would think it's a wheel, but I don't know. It's the pedals for some reason. So what you want to do here is bring that down to 2%. And then the rest of the axis you can take down to 0. Like so. So the reason why there needs to be a 2% dead zone on the pedals is if you put it on 0, a lot of the time what happens, sometimes with only specific vehicles, I know the one of the front loaders, they do that. So if you don't touch the pedals whatsoever, the thing actually just reverses for no obvious reason. So 2% over there, 0 on the rest. That'll make, I'm guessing axis 11 is for some reason the steering wheel. So that'll just give you a nice direct steering input without any dead zone there. As far as I know, axis 12 and 13 reset up to 14. For me at least, I don't know why that happens, but I think it's just because it's maybe a axis, like a button axis. So that'll just reset to default. So go down here, click apply and click OK. Right, so that is everything set up. So we're going to hop into the game and see if everything works okay. So I'll be back in 1 second. Right, okay, so we are in game and here we are in a New Holland front loader. So if I use the mouse, we can use all of the goodies on that. But now if I press the big round button in the red dot on my steering wheel, that's going to start the engine. You can see the steering is very, very sensitive. You can't actually see the movement on my steering wheel, but there is no dead zone whatsoever. If I click the plus button, that's going to take me to the next vehicle. If I hit the minus, that's going to take me to previous vehicles. So yeah, that works pretty damn well. So if I hit accelerator pedal, we're going to move forward. The steering is very, very smooth. So I love that, no dead zone whatsoever. If I hit the clutch, that takes us into braking and reversing. If you want your game to, if you hit the brake pedal, or in my case the clutch pedal, and you want the tractor to stop and stay stopped and not reverse, what you want to do is hit escape and then head over to controls. No, the little flash screen, is it here? No, the tractor screen. There we go. So the little tractor screen up here, and turn stop and go braking off. So, and here's your automatic engine start as well. I prefer that. If you get in a tractor, you have to start it yourself and turn it off yourself. So that is really good. So stop and go braking, you can turn that off, hit spacebar, that'll save game. And now what'll happen if I drive forward and I hit the brake, as you saw previously, it stops and then goes into reverse. Now I have my foot on the brake. You can see the brake lights are on, but it doesn't move. So to get into reverse, I have to release that pedal and hit it again, and that will go into reverse then. If I hit accelerator, that's going to stop. If I keep my foot on it, release, and carry on forward again. So you can use that if you really want to. I don't really like it. I'm used to having that stop and go braking on. So now if I hit the brake, that's going to brake and it's going to start reversing. So that's just my personal preference, but again, that is, you can decide, you can play around with it and decide what you want to do. But yeah, that's going to be it for today, guys. So I hope this helps you out. Like I said, there is another one if you want your joystick to work with it. Another video in the description below, so check that out. And if you found this helpful, please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.